I was born and raised in the dark woods of West Virginia. The only song I ever knew growing up was John Denver's Country Roads. My father worked in a mine, and my father's father worked in a mine. Might even have been born in a mine. Or I get teardrops in my eyes thinking about it. Bigfoot was never a thing growing up. Apart from family time watching Harry and the Hendersons, my dad would always say the Patterson Gimlin film was fake, even though he attended the Big Buckhannon Bigfoot Fest every year. He also had a collection of replica footprint casts lining the garage and even called the dog Bigfoot. Come to think of it, he seemed to be reading a new book on Bigfoot every night. But like I said, it wasn't a thing really. Uh, Anyways, my story starts when I was 16 years old, or I might have been 11. Um, the 3 years I spent in third grade, confuses me sometimes. My little bedroom faced right out to the woods in our log cabin that me and my eight siblings lived in with mommy and daddy. Uh, when I say my bedroom, it was the only kid's bedroom, so it was also the bedroom for all my brothers and sisters and Bigfoot the dog. One night, I heard a tapping on the window. I opened the curtains, but nothing was there. The tapping started up again, and so I rushed back to the window, pulled the curtains open, but nothing was there again. That's when I noticed that it was brother Billy's toenail tapping against the window as he snored. He never liked to cut his toenails, so this thing looked like an eagle's claw. So when Bigfoot started tapping on the window, I thought it was just the monster toenail doing its thing again. Uh, this time I lunged at my brother's feet with the rusty penknife that Daddy always used to cut his toenails, only to brush the curtain open with my shoulder and to see this giant hairy thing staring in the window. It was the strangest thing I ever did see. It looked like half man, half ape, and half bear. Daddy heard me scream and turned the porch light on. That's when I seen it. It was just Uncle Joe having a midnight stroll, but that Bigfoot was standing right behind him anyway. So Uncle Joe backs off, and this giant looks in the window and points at my favorite teddy bear. That's when I seen Mommy rush outside and hit Uncle Joe with the broom, thinking he was Bigfoot. Bigfoot laughed, and when Mommy heard this, she turned around and started beating him for laughing at her mistake. We didn't see Bigfoot for weeks after that. Mommy says he was too ashamed to come back and that he was probably offended that she thought he looked like Uncle Joe. Um, she only thought Uncle Joe was Bigfoot because out of the two hairy figures in the dark, he smelled the worst. Uh, Anyways, a few weeks later, Bigfoot comes tapping on the window again. I opened the curtains expecting the visit, and again he pointed at my favorite teddy bear. I rough talked him for waking me up, shut the curtains, and that was that. One night I left our bedroom window open for some breeze in the hot summer night. When I woke in the morning, my teddy bear was gone. I searched all around the house, even in the bathroom, in case he need a leak or something, but I could not find that bear. I immediately thought that Bigfoot must have taken him in the night. I went to Daddy and woke him up, upset that my bear was missing. He told me to go back to sleep and that we would check in the morning. The morning came, and we found Giant's footprints leading from my bedroom window into the woods. We grabbed Bigfoot the dog and a high powered .22 rifle I used to pop balloons and went a Bigfoot hunting. We followed those footprints up and down ridge after ridge until we were led to the next town over. The footprints went right up to another cabin on the edge of the town and straight to another bedroom window. They then went back into the woods, and so we followed them again. After a couple hours, the footprints came to the foot of a mountain. We were both tired by now, so Daddy said we'd go back home for dinner and come back in the safety of the night to get to the bottom of the story. After a good dinner of chicken and dumplings, we went right back out on the trail until we arrived back at the mountain. By flashlight, we followed Bigfoot as he went up the steep mountainside. Eventually, the prints stopped at the edge of a clearing where we could see a glow of light and could hear soft grunting. Daddy told me to hide with him behind a bush to see what was going on. As we peered through the bush, we could see a whole bunch of Bigfoots trying to sleep while this little Bigfoot or Littlefoot was jumping around and keeping them awake. The Bigfoot sure looked grumpy as they couldn't sleep for the noise the Littlefoot was making with all his hyperactivity. And that's when we heard the brush pop at the other side of the clearing, and out steps the Bigfoot who had come to my window. In his arms were a pile of teddy bears. Right at the top of the pile was my own beloved bear. Daddy put his hand over my mouth so that I wouldn't holler and told me to keep quiet. Bigfoot then dropped all the teddy bears in front of the Littlefoot. The Littlefoot looked at them carefully, then with a big smile, chose my own bear. He tucked it under his arm, laid down, and fell quickly asleep. All the other Bigfoots let out one big sigh and all settled down for their own much needed sleep. Me and Daddy quietly left and hiked back home, knowing that my bear was in safe hands and much needed to give the local Bigfoot community peace from the baby that couldn't sleep. That's my story, and I am sticking to it.